All right, we are back. It is episode 8, the Calgary Flames franchise mode here on NHL 18, and it is time to face the Edmonton Oilers in the Stanley Cup playoffs for the first time since 1991. Yes, it's been 27 long years since we have seen the Alberta rival teams in the Stanley Cup playoffs, the Oilers and the Flames going at it in the Battle of Alberta. It's just not the same during the regular season as it is when you get to playoff time. So it's been a while. Obviously, these two teams have not met. Incredibly, they've been in the same division all the way back this whole time, but they've never met since 1991 was the last year that the two teams met. So this is exciting. The Flames finished with a 49-28-5 record, while the Edmonton Oilers finished with a 47-27-8 record. So pretty much identical in the standings. Calgary finished second in the Pacific. Edmonton finished third. So we took a look in the last video there at the end of episode 7. At the standings for both conferences and our division, as well as our player stats. Now, just before we start this episode, I do want to make a note that episode 7, if you did not watch, episode 7 is in 2 parts. The reason behind that is because the recording time went a little long. It went over 60 minutes for episode 7. So the best way to extract it from the PlayStation 4 was to put it into 2 different parts. So even though it's one whole episode, it's in 2 parts. So if you watched episode 7, part 1, and then just clicked onto this video, there is a second part. But that's pretty obvious. You would probably know if you just clicked right onto this video and saw that we are starting with the Stanley Cup playoffs round 1. So I'll put a link in the description down below. With both part 1 and part 2 for episode 7 in case you missed it. But again, it's pretty obvious if you did. You probably wouldn't be here if you did. So, that's episode 7. It's the only episode that's 2 parts, but this is episode 8, Stanley Cup playoff time. So, just again, quick look here. I just want to look at our division. We looked at the standings and where all the teams finished in the last part of episode 7. We looked at the playoff teams and everything, but here's Calgary, 103. As mentioned, 102 is what the Edmonton Oilers finished with. So it was 1 point. That's all that separated the two provincial rivals from home ice advantage. So we do claim home ice advantage on the Edmonton Oilers. We finish a point better than them. I did some checking. The last time the Calgary Flames hit the 100-point plateau was actually in 2005. They clinched the Northwestern Division. That was also the last time they've ever won a divisional title. Was 2005. They also finished that year with 103 points. That's the last time the Flames finished with 100 points, and it was also 103. So just like they did in 2005, they finished with 103 points, but this time it's the Ducks that claimed the divisional title. So it's been a while since the Flames have even been, this good of a team in the regular season. Again, 49-28-5. We finished 1 win short of 50. But we do eclipse the 100-point plateau. We've come close. We've hit the 90, we've hit around 95, 97, 96, I think a couple times. Obviously back in 2015, I think we hit 97. I think last year it was something like 94. I don't have it in front of me right now, but we've been close, and there was a couple other years, I think 2009, 2008, that this team hit the high 90s. But never hit the 100-point plateau since 2005 when they last won a divisional title. So that is just a quick look at the standings there. We're going to look at the Edmonton Oilers. Actually, you know what? We'll do that right now. Why don't we look at the Oilers right now while we have this screen up? So we looked at where we finished in the NHL. We finished 4th. The Edmonton Oilers finished 5th, but we looked at all of our team stats, but let's look at the Oilers team stats. So let's look at the Edmonton Oilers goals for. So we know we were 4th here in the NHL in goals for. Edmonton is all the way down here, about around the 15 mark. So in the top half for Edmonton, they finished with 222 goals, averaging 2.71 goals a game. So they're in the top half in that department. We finished though with more goals than they did in terms of goals against. We know that I think we were in the middle somewhere. Let's look at the goals against here. There's Edmonton. Second best goals against in the NHL this season, 193. So they allow the second least amount of goals. So they're a very well defensive team. Either that or Cam Talbot has just stood on his head all season. So we'll take a look at their player stats. But there's us. We're somewhat in the halfway mark, close to the bottom half in the goals against. So that's one area we definitely want to improve on. But Mike Smith has been pretty solid all season long. He's been pretty consistent for the most part. But we probably would like to improve that going into the playoffs, especially facing a guy like Connor McDavid. So this is the power play. We finished in the just in the top half with 19.5. Edmonton's up there too. I just skipped them. They finished just above us with 21.3. So not too much of a difference on the power play. Our power play was a lot higher. It was probably right around where Edmonton was, if not a little bit higher. During the season, so we've slipped back a little bit at 19.5%, but we have not switched up our power play since really the beginning of the season, so that might be one area we want to fix coming in to the Stanley Cup playoffs. In terms of the penalty kill, let's take a look at where Edmonton finished here. So this is going by the best PK in the league. Let's go by the worst just to see. And yes, they are in the bottom half. They are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th worst PK in the NHL. So if we can get our power play going, if we can take advantage of their weak PK, that could be an area of strength for us if we can win the special teams battle. There we are about the halfway mark in the PK. So our PK, though, was at one point the second worst penalty kill in the NHL at the beginning of the season, and we've improved drastically in that department, but the Oilers still sit with the 6th worst PK in the league, so we have to take advantage of that. We got to win the special teams battle in this series, and we may have a good opportunity then to win the series. I'm predicting it's going to go about 6 or 7. Like I said, these two teams are pretty evenly matched, but I think our advantage is going to be taking advantage of these special teams. So we broke down the Flames players in the last episode where all of our players finished in terms of points. We'll look at the Edmonton Oilers in a second. There's just a quick look at us. I wanted to see the NHL's overall stats because we didn't take a look at that in the last video. It was going pretty long, obviously. The biggest note here is Dougie Hamilton. He finishes with 60 assists. I believe he's got to be atop the NHL leaders in that department. So he led us with 67 points, but it was 60 assists. So I just want to see where he ranks, but we'll also see who finished in goals and points in the NHL this past season. So let's go entire league. We're going by points, and there it is. Alexander Ovechkin. He finishes with 94 points, so nobody this season eclipses the 100-point plateau, but Ovechkin does get pretty damn close with 94 points. But take a look at this. Goals department, 60 goals by Alexander Ovechkin. The grade 8 getting it done in Washington. That's just incredible. I believe he's hit the 60-goal plateau before in his career, and yes, he has. In 2007-8, he hit 65 goals. That was his career year in both points and goals. 112 points that year, but 65 goals. So for the second time in his lustrous NHL career, he gets 60 on the board. But look at some of these numbers, like 50, 53, 51. I mean, 50, 56. Like he's 50. Like this guy's got to be over 600 goals now, because I know he's pretty close to 600 coming into this season. So he's definitely got to be over 600 goals right now. What a career by Alexander Ovechkin, the grade 8. John Tavares finishes with 92 points, tied with Patrick Kane for second behind Ovechkin, 92 points for Kane. There's Connor McDavid, 91 points, so 1 point back of both Kane and Taves, a couple points back of Ovechkin for the league lead. This is 1 year after Connor McDavid won the scoring title with exactly 100 points. This year he finishes with 9 points less, 91 points through 82 games. So 39 goals and 52 assists for Connor McDavid. So he's up there in the top 5 in NHL scoring, but a year removed from being the Art Ross winner. This year it will go to Ovechkin. He will likely clean up the Rocket Richard Trophy as well, because I don't think anybody else here has over 60 goals. So just a quick look there. Ben, Taves, Stamkos, Backstrom, Tarasenko. We're going by points, by the way. Crosby, Radulov, Eberle, Pastrnak, and Vadim Shipchenko stays with the Vegas Golden Knights in this game and leads them in scoring with 73 points. So look there at the top whatever that is, like 15 players in the NHL in terms of points. In terms of goals, it's probably Ovechkin, and it is by a huge mile. He has 60 goals. Tavares, the next closest, at 47. Tarasenko and Stamkos also eclipsed the 40-goal plateau. So the big one I want to look at, though, assists. Dougie Hamilton's got to be up there, and he does not lead the NHL in assists. It's Nick Backstrom. Go figure. Ovechkin had 60 goals, so somebody had to have about 60 or plus assists, and of course it was going to be Backstrom, who plays on the same line as the grade 8. 67 assists. That's 7 more assists than Dougie Hamilton. 65 assist goal to Jonathan Toews, who is second, and there's Dougie Hamilton. 60 assists, so tied with Alex Pietrangelo for third in that department. So pretty damn good season out of Dougie Hamilton. Best defenseman by far. TJ Brodie was not far behind, though. And actually, there's TJ Brodie right there, 56 assists. So Brodie had a pretty stellar season as well, 61 points, but 56 assists. He's tied with Claude Giroux for fourth in the NHL in assists. So a pretty damn good season by both the Giordano, Hamilton and Brodie, I should say, as they both are up in the top 5 in NHL assists. So that's kind of interesting. Just wanted to take a look at that. But let's now go to, we'll go by points here, but let's now take a look at the Edmonton Oilers. And I'm in the wrong screen here. Let's go like this. Okay, let's now take a look at where the Oilers finished, so what we're matching up against. So we took a look, as I mentioned in the last video, of the second part of part 2, at the Flames and where we finished in terms of all our players with points. Let's take a look at where the Edmonton Oilers finished. So no doubt about it, as mentioned, Connor McDavid leads them in scoring with 91 points, likely in goals with 39. Yes, he does. So they have the 1-2 headed monster here. If these two are on the top line, and we'll take a look at the Oilers' lines here in a second, but if both Draisaitl and McDavid are on the top line, that's lethal. Even if they're not, that's still 2 lethal lines anchored by 2 superstars. Draisaitl finishes with 61 points, so he does eclipse the 60-point plateau. This is a guy that came off last year, I believe he had 77 points. Last year, let's take a look. Yes, he did. He had 77 points last year, 29 goals this year. A little bit less, 24 goals and 61 points. So a little bit less, but he still eclipses the 60-point plateau. So that's big for him. Milan Lucic, 59 points, so he's just 2 points behind Draisaitl. So what does that tell you? That tells you that Milan Lucic is likely playing alongside Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl on the top line. If not Draisaitl, at least alongside McDavid. There's no way Lucic had put up 59 points not playing with McDavid. Nugent Hopkins, another one, 58 points for the Nuge. That's incredible. He likely is on the top line with McDavid as well, or on the second line with Draisaitl. So just taking a look here. Yeah, so, and then Patrick Maroon, will put him in this category as well to round out the top 5. 46 points for him. So what it tells you is that these top 5 all play in their top 6, and they have a lethal top 6. But take a look at some of these numbers down here. After Patrick Maroon, then you start to see a big drop-off. 38 points for Ryan Strome. 30 points for UC Jokinen. Then it gets down to 29 for Ward, 25 for Cassian and Letestu, and Kajula and Puljujärvi with 24 each. And then look at this, they don't really have much depth down there. So what that tells me is that they have stacked their top 2 lines. That's where all of their scoring is coming from. We're going to take a look here at the defensemen. I don't believe their defensemen have a lot of points because, again, most of that, yeah, and they don't. Most of that is coming from their top line. So unlike us, who we had obviously 2 defensemen who eclipsed the 60-point plateau, and I think Giordano wasn't too far behind. They don't really have anybody that even close to our defensemen. Oscar Klefbom, their highest scorer, with 39 points. Then comes Andrei Sekera at 30 points, Nurse 17, Adam Larson 15, and so on. So yeah, they really, look at Chris Russell, 2 points, -5. He only played 65 games for them, but really not the defensive defenseman they were hoping for this season in Chris Russell, the former Calgary Flame. But what that shows you is that all of their scoring is coming for their top 2 lines, led by obviously McDavid and Draisaitl, but Nugent Hopkins and Strome and Lucci as well, and I went by centers, oops, all up there as well in scoring. Maroon, not Strome. Maroon, Nugent Hopkins, and Lucci. So their top 6 is pretty damn lethal. Their depth is okay, but I think we have a slightly better depth. We did lose Sam Bennett, if you didn't... and they lost Patty Maroon, I believe. he's got that injured sign there, but we'll see if he's in their starting lineup in Game 1. But we did lose Sam Bennett in the second last game against the Winnipeg Jets of the regular season. He's out till April 22nd, so a massive loss for us in Calgary in terms of Sam Bennett. He's just our third line center this season, but to lose any depth player, 81 overall, that's going to be a big loss because we've lost him for the entire first round and likely some of the second round if we make it because he's out till the 22nd of April. And we're just at the beginning of the month of April, I believe. So 36 points through 81 games, not the breakout season we mentioned in the last video for Sam Bennett, but still a valuable depth player down there for us. So what that's going to do is allow Mark Jankowski to really step in to a big spot there. So into the third line center spot, and have a big role with the team. So we might even give Jankowski power play time. I think we put Yager in there instead because he wasn't on the power play, and we mentioned it in the last video, he had an incredible season for us. We're definitely bringing back Jaromir Yager if he does not retire for a cheap contract. So 63 games for Cam Talbot. They leaned on him, just as much as we leaned on Mike Smith. 37, 20, and 6 is his record. 928 save percentage with a 2.2 goals against. So a pretty damn good season by Cam Talbot. Again, they sit in the top 5 in goals against. I forget what it was. So they're up there in goals against, meaning they're one of the better defensive teams or one of the better teams in allowing or not allowing goals. But I think a huge part of it is Cam Talbot. I don't know how much their defenseman played in that. Laurent Brossoit came in 21 games and put up a 10.72 record with a 919 save percentage. So when I look at their goaltending, it's quite similar to ours with Mike Smith and John Gillies. Laurent Brossoit did obviously play a lot more games than John Gillies, but we have full confidence in Gillies in coming in. Through 6 games, he put up a 926 save percentage. So we really have, both teams really have 2 solid backups who are able to step in, and then both teams have starters who had pretty damn good seasons. 65 games there for Mike Smith. So I think the goaltending's pretty even. I think our defense is slightly better than theirs, but I think they have slightly better. Well, we have slightly better depth, I think, but they obviously have the more lethal top 6 with the superstars anchoring that. So we'll take a look here at the lines. That will give us a better idea here. Let's go view lines here. We'll look at Edmonton's and ours. So we don't need to look at Anaheim. What am I doing here? We need to go like this. All right. So we can't view our lines from here. We have to go and edit lines, but we'll look at Edmonton's lines. So yeah, there it is. Lucci, McDavid, Nugent Hopkins. We knew these guys would be in the top line, and Draisaitl they're using on the second line with Jussi Jokinen and Joel Ward. But they do not have Patrick Maroon on this, so they've lost one of their top 6 forwards as we lost one of our bottom 6 forwards. So that is an advantage for us going in, but unfortunately it was the worst top 6 forward, or maybe second worst, because I guess Jussi Jokinen and Joel Ward are up there. But, they still have the most lethal top line. This is going to be hard to stop this line, led by McDavid. You got Lucci and Nugent Hopkins, who both had stellar years alongside McDavid. And then you got a pretty damn good second line. It's mostly anchored by Leon Draisaitl. I guess when Maroon comes back, it'll be better. But I think Draisaitl's just carrying that second line right now. But look at this. They don't have too much depth here in the bottom 6. They got Ryan Strome, but then it's Jesse Puljujarvi, that Cassian. This fourth line's pretty weak here. I think that's Eric Greiber, a defenseman. So he is. So they don't even have a extra forward with the loss of Patty Maroon. So they brought Greiber playing as a forward. So we really have to take advantage of the depth here. We did lose Sam Bennett, but they don't have much depth down here, but they have a lethal top line and a pretty good second line. Looking at the defense here, Clefbaum and Larson, that's a solid top pairing. And then you got Sekera and Paul Martin, and then Matt Benning and Nurse. So I think our defense is slightly better in that category, but then when we get to goaltending, obviously they have Cam Talbot's 87 and Mike Smith is 83, but Mike Smith played He had very similar numbers to Cam Talbot, so they pretty much played similar. I would say the goaltending's pretty even though they have, the better overalls than we do. But so that's a quick look there at Edmonton's lineup. But let's a look at what we're gonna face. I think matchup is gonna be a key for us in this series. Who do we want to put against the McDavid line? Do we want to put our 3M line, or do we want to put our top line against their line? So matchups are going to be key for us in this one. So just looking at their lines and looking at our lines, we could put Gaudreau, Monahan, Neal right out against the McDavid line, but do we want to put the Tkachuk, Backlund, Frolik line out there against them and try and shut them down? This is our better defensive line, and then maybe put these guys out against Draisaitl's line. And then down here, we'll put, obviously, the third and the fourth lines out. So, just looking here, I think what we'll do is we'll start with Troy Brouwer. He's the veteran. We'll bring him in over Curtis Lazar and go like that. Yager has had a stellar year. If James Neal's not working out on the top line, we're going to bump Yager up because, like I said, incredible year. I think he finished, a couple goals shy of 30. Yeah, he did 27 goals and 49 points. Incredible year at the age of 46 for Jaromir Jagr, and that's why we're going to bring him back if we have the opportunity to on a similar contract to this one, just because, that's an incredible year. But I think at 40, going into 47, I think this guy's going to retire after this year. So I think that's what we'll do. We'll start the first game with this line against the McDavid line, see how they do in game one, and if we have to switch it, we can put these guys up as the top line to go against the McDavid line. But, no, I'm liking it right now. I think this matchup is good. We'll also match up Giordano Hamilton against their line, and then go Brody against the Draisaitl line. And then we'll see what we can get out of that. So, the one thing we want to do here before we start game one is switch up our power play just a tiny bit. Has kind of slipped a little bit. So I think what we will do is try loading up our top unit with forwards. We'll bring Yager up there, put James the Real Deal Neal there with Dougie Hamilton, and then we'll go Brody down here with Giordano, and go Tkachuk, Backlund, and Frolik. Switch these two around, so just go 3M line basically with Gio and Brody, but we'll try and stack our top unit a little bit better than, with two forwards. I guess we could bring Giordano up here and it would be, better, but let's try this. We gotta switch something up, that's all. And just see if we can get our power play going against their weaker penalty kill. We gotta win the special teams battle in this one. So, without further ado, let's get right into game one. Calgary Flames, Edmonton Oilers. Oh, one more note I wanted to touch on is James Neal. We looked at all the player stats. I said in the last video I was going to look up Neal's stats as a Calgary Flame. So just take a look here at his season. He had an incredible season in Vegas. He played 63 games with the Vegas Golden Knights, put up 23 goals, 26 assists, 49 points through 63 games. He came to Calgary, played 17 games, 5 goals, 5 assists, 10 points through 17 games. So he dropped off since coming to Calgary. That's obviously not good news for us. We obviously were hoping to have the James Neal that was playing better in Vegas, but unfortunately he dropped off a little bit. We can only hope that he picks it up here in playoffs and then going into next season. We have not extended him yet. We tried that. He denied it. But we are going to try and extend him again, probably after the playoffs, just before free agency, as well as we'll probably try and extend Backlund again. These are two guys we're definitely bringing back in our top 6, is Neal and Backlund. But, just a little bit disappointing of James Neal through 17 games to only put up 10 points. But we'll see if we can pick things up here in the playoffs, as we got him back there again along the top line with Monahan and Gaudreau, who have been our two best offensive forwards all season long. Obviously, when you're playing with those two, you should be able to pick up points. So, so there's a look at the two conferences, the teams in the Stanley Cup playoffs, and let's get right to it. Let's get simming here. Let's get to game one. Edmonton Oilers, Calgary Flames, Battle of Alberta for the first time in 27 long years. Let's just jump right in. All right, let's go here. So we'll start with, we'll do real-time simulation here through the Stanley Cup playoffs. So they got Draisaitl's line out right now, facing off against the Monahan line. But here we go, real-time simulation. We're going by goals and by speed of 8, and the Oilers open up the scoring. They get 2 quick goals on us here in the first period on 4 shots, so not the start we wanted in Game 1, but there's Chris Versteeg responding. It's a 2-1 game, and Frolik ties it up, and then McDavid scores, so, wow. What a start to the Stanley Cup playoffs for the Battle of Alberta. 3 goals by the Oilers, 2 by us on not many shots in this one. So pretty big first period. They put up 15 shots. We only put up 9. So we got to find a way to stop the bleeding a little bit. But it's nice we did get 2 back there for Stieg and Frolik, but we got to stop their scoring here. We obviously already let McDavid on the board. So second period here, we're on the power play, and we finally get a goal. So Jaromir Jagr scores on the power play, the new look power play. We moved Jagr to the top, and he does get the goal. So they have the weak penalty kill, but we did have a second power play there just now, and we did not score. So 1 for 2 on the power play in this one. But look at Edmonton's shots. Already 32 shots through 40 minutes of play in Game 1. We got to find a way to stop this. They've got way too... Their offense is just flying right now. We got to help Smith out a little bit. Strong third period here. It's tied at 3. Anybody can have this one. Come on, Calgary. They've already got 40 shots on net here. Come on, Calgary. Smith is playing on his head so far in this one. Come on, Calgary. Break through here. Oh, we might be going overtime here in Game 1. Come on, Calgary. Come on. And we're going overtime, so what a more fitting way to decide Game 1 between Edmonton and Calgary than overtime. So give me 1 second. We'll get overtime underway in Game 1. And there we go. It is a bullet from TJ Brodie in overtime. Jankowski with the offensive faceoff. Our third line goes out there for the first time in overtime. Jankowski wins the faceoff back to TJ Brodie. Here it is here. And he just blasts one top corner there by Cam Talbot. So we do take the win in Game 1. That's exactly what we like to see. Incredible performance by Mike Smith. He faces 48 shots, but we do win 4-3 in overtime. So there's Mike Smith, 938 save percentage on 45 saves. But TJ Brodie picks up a goal and an assist, including the overtime winner. And the Calgary Flames have jumped out to a big 1-0 lead in this best-of-7 series in the Battle of Alberta. So that is huge. So there it is, 2-point night for TJ Brodie. Not a lot of offense in this one. Well, I guess it was a 4-3 game, but the offense was definitely spread out. So top line doesn't get anything done here. Gaudreau Monahan held pointless. James Neal also held pointless. Oh, no, he does pick up an assist. So Neal does pick up an assist there. But the big one, 2-point night there by TJ Brodie. Just looking at ice time here. Matthew Tkachuk only plays 5 minutes and 12 seconds. Does pick up a point, but only played 5 minutes in this one, so that's a huge concern. We cannot lose another player, especially a top 6 player, so we got to pray that Matthew Tkachuk is only out for this game and does not miss significant time. Incredible performance, as mentioned, by Mike Smith. Really held his own in this one, but let's just pray right now that we did not lose Matthew Tkachuk. We've already got Sam Bennett out till the 22nd of the month of April. We can't lose Tkachuk for any extended amount of time. That would definitely not be good news. So let's pray here that Tkachuk's not out. Come on. We can't lose players at this time of year. We just can't. But that's a huge win. Don't underestimate how big of a win that is in overtime. An incredible win, goal by TJ Brodie. So yeah, so nothing yet there. So it does not look like we lost Tkachuk just yet. The menu's still loading though. Come on. Come on. Pray we did not lose Tkachuk. Slow-ass menu. Okay. So I don't think we did. So let's go back into calendar here. So that's good. But we do have to watch because Tkachuk is now more prone to injury as he got injured in that one. But let's get right to Game 2. And let's see what we got in Game 2. So we're going to keep the same lines. We won Game 1, obviously, in overtime. We had a little bit of trouble with McDavid in that one, but we'll see if the Monahan line can keep it up and shutting down McDavid. We've got top line versus top line. So here we go, first period, and we get on the board first. The captain, Mark Giordano, fires one past Cam Talbot. Penalty kill, come on, penalty kill. Come on, Calgary, and they score on their second power play of the game. So the Nuge gets on the board for the first time in this series, I believe. It's tied at 1 through 20, as we are now officially through 20. Second period, 9-7 other shots for us. They're working on a power play, though. I believe their third power play of the game. So they go 1 for 3 so far. We gotta get this. We gotta take advantage of our home ice. It's not going to be easy going up in Game 3 to Rogers Arena. And there's Nugent Hopkins with his second of the game. So come on, Calgary, push back here. Come on, we can tie this one up. We can tie this one up. This is it, third period. Come on. Let's avoid the 1-1 split. Come on, let's go back to Edmonton with a 2-0 series lead. And there it is, Michael Backlund. Huge goal by Bax as he shows up in this series. Come on now, penalty kill, penalty kill. Come on, get us to overtime again. At least get us to overtime. Give us a fighting shot here. Come on, Calgary. Much more even game in this one. Power play, come on, power play. That would have been a good time for the power play. Scores, Jaromir Jagr. 2 minutes left. Huge goal. And there it is. A 2-0 series lead. Oh my goodness. The unsung hero of the Calgary Flames season, Jaromir Jagr, comes through with like less than 2 minutes to go. And the Calgary Flames steal a massive win and take a 2-0 series lead. Incredible stuff there. Wow. So that is exciting. What a finish. It looked like we were going to overtime, but Jaromir Jagr. So a good night there. Monahan picking up a point. Neal does not. Gaudreau has been he picks up... Oh, excuse me. He picks up a point. I was just about to say he was going to be held pointless through 2 games, but he does pick up an assist, so that is good. But there's Jaromir Jagr. 12 minutes and the huge GWG, but 4 shots on net for Jaromir Jagr. So this guy was... it was only a matter of time before he broke through. Big game there, though, by our team. And Tkachuk, taking a look there at Tkachuk, he plays 11:40, +1. Does not get a point, but you know what? He avoided getting re-injured, so that is good. Mike Smith, another stellar performance. 27 saves on 29 shots. Good enough for a .931 save percentage. So Mike Smith has come through for us through 2 games so far in this series. So that is huge for the Calgary Flames. So let's get right up to Game 3 here. We're going back into Edmonton now. We've got a 2-0 series lead. We're going to keep the same lineups. Let's go. Here we go. Let's simulate. And this is huge for us. So to have that 2-0 series lead is massive. It is absolutely massive. Because, I mean, this is not going to be an easy game now. Games 3 and 4 up in Edmonton. Okay, so I'm going to take a drink there. So we have killed off... I think we killed off 1 power play, but then they score with Leon Draisaitl, but there's James the Real Neal Deal. So we need this guy to be key in this series. Like I said, through 17 games, not much out of Neal, just 10 points, but he comes through in Game 3. Matthew Tkachuk on the board there at the end of the period, so he's looking good after being injured there in Game 1. He gets his first of the series, and we've got the 2-1 lead. So come on, Calgary, let's just keep pushing. I think one of those goals was on the power play too, so we're starting to take advantage of that special teams. I think it was good that we kind of switched up the lines a little bit, knowing that we can take advantage of the Oilers, who have a weaker PK. And that's really one of their only weaknesses. They've got a lot of strengths, including those top lines. But there they are working on a 5-on-3. They can't score. Our PK has probably been the most underrated thing in this series so far. We have killed off quite a few Oilers power plays. So that is huge. Come on, Calgary, just hang on. Hang on. They've got already 36 shots on net, 37 now. Come on, Calgary, hang on, hang on, hang on. Yes! There it is. And then we have a 3-0 series lead over our provincial rivals. We have just taken a stranglehold on this series. And again, Mike Smith faces 38 shots, makes 37 saves. He is, obviously through 3 games, he's our consummate favorite. I mean, I know we're not even close to the finals, but Smith has been unbelievable. Wow. So that is huge. So again, Monahan not getting a point, -1 in this one. Neal does get a huge goal. Gaudreau assists likely on that goal. Still not a lot out of our top line, but at least they're, getting points here and there. But the main thing is we got the win. Jagr picks up another point. So just big stuff out of here. We're getting it done. Like, bottom line is we're just getting it done. But the biggest thing is Mike Smith. Like, 974. 974. Through 3 games, Mike Smith has just been incredible. That is unbelievable stuff. So we have just taken a massive stranglehold on this series. The Oilers now face elimination, and we get Sam Bennett back much earlier than anticipated. So we will put him back in the lineup. Jankowski will back there. Versteeg can come down here. Let's see here. What do we want to do? Versteeg can come down here. Do we want to take Stajan out? Yeah, we'll take Stajan out. Even though he's a centerman. I'll bring Bennett in for Stajan, and then we'll put Bennett there. And we'll give Steger the center position here on the fourth line. So hopefully the fourth line doesn't play too much, because, it's Ferland, Versteeg, and Brouwer, but let's hope this line plays a little bit more. Bennett's back there. Yager's been good so far. Jankowski hasn't done too much in this series thus far. 1 assist through 3 games and a +2 rating, but Jaromir Jagr there, 2 points. 3 points and a +1 rating through 3 games. So hopefully Sam Bennett can jump in and pick up right where this team has left off with a 3-0 series lead. So the Oilers face elimination. This is massive for the Calgary Flames. So we can eliminate them. We could sweep them. Our provincial rivals, we could sweep them. I don't think anybody thought this was even a possibility in this series for either team because we were so close in the standings. This was such a close matchup. I didn't think anybody was anticipating a sweep in this series, but that is the possibility right now. We're up 1-0 on a goal by James Neal, his second in as many, but Drake Caggiula tying the game up here in the first period. They've fired so many shots on us in this series, but Mike Smith has been stellar. So come on, Calgary. I mean, I know we don't have to get the win in this game, but let's just get it over with. Let's not even give the Oilers any life in this series. Let's say, we got swept last year and it stung. Let's make Edmonton feel that pain, and let's just get right to the second round if we can, right now. I don't want to go back up to Edmonton for 5. Come on, Calgary. Come on. Or I guess back up to Calgary, for 5. This is game 4 in Edmonton. So through 40 minutes of play, it's still tied 1-1. If we get the next goal here, we could possibly win the series. Come on, Calgary. Come on. Let's just get it over with in 4. Don't even give Edmonton life here. Shots are pretty even. About halfway through the period. Come on, Flames. This would be a huge time for Johnny Gaudreau. Oh no, and Darnell Nurse scores. 6 minutes left. Come on, Calgary. Come on. Come on. Yes, Monty! Sean Monahan ties it up with less than 4 minutes to go, and we're going to overtime in Game 4. All right, so this is it. We could possibly end the series right here in overtime. Edmonton is fighting for their lives. Give me 1 second. And boys, there it is. The 3-2 win in overtime in Game 4. Get out the brooms, Edmonton. You've just been swept at home at Rogers Arena. So I clicked it a little too fast. Missed the replay, but it was a tip, I believe, by Tkachuk. I don't even know. Let's take a look here. I don't even know who scored that. Goals, overtime. Yeah, so Tkachuk does get a stick on it. Just 31 seconds into overtime. It was TJ Brody with a blast from the point. We had good pressure going there, but we didn't get a good shot away until Brody fires that one. He just slapped it on net, but Tkachuk getting a stick on it. He plays hero. The Calgary Flames have just swept the Edmonton Oilers in 4 games in the Western Conference quarterfinals. Like I said, I'm actually pretty shocked, because I did not think that this was even a possibility with the fact that the two teams are so close in terms of... So Monahan gets a goal there, Neal gets a goal, Gaudreau doesn't get a point, but the fact that the two teams were just so close in the standings, I thought this would be more of a battle. 9-3-8. Mike Smith, though, quietly MVP of the playoffs so far. I think for any team, I don't know what's been happening in the other games, but anytime Mike Smith has faced 30 to 40 shots almost every game, and we sweep the Oilers. How do you not... that guy's got to be MVP right now of the league in the playoffs. But still a ways to go. Again, we don't know what's happening in the other series. But let's take a look now, because we were on the calendar. But that is a massive win. We have just beat the Edmonton Oilers for the first time since 2015. By the way, we are going to round 2. So that is huge. A year removed from being swept by the Anaheim Ducks in a series that really shouldn't have ended the way it did. I mean, there's no way we should have got swept by Anaheim last year, but we did. So we come back and we sweep Edmonton. Would have been nicer if we swept the Ducks, but we'll take the sweep over our provincial rivals. So the only other sweep is Toronto, who won the President's Trophy. They sweep the Buffalo Sabres, winning that series 4-0. The rest of the Eastern Conference is on a deciding game there. You can see both the Central Division matchups are tied at 2, but the Hawks have a 3-1 stranglehold over the Ducks. So we face the winner of Anaheim or Chicago, and right now it's looking like Chicago. I actually hope it's Chicago because we just don't have a lot of good luck against Anaheim. But you know what? What better way to get sweet revenge than play Anaheim? But either way, we're going to play Anaheim or Chicago. But that is huge. I mean, I can't believe we just swept Edmonton. I definitely wasn't expecting that. We did a good job, I think, after Game 1. I think Game 1, McDavid was good, but after that, I think we held him down. We didn't give him a lot of room, at least through the stats. Again, we didn't play the game, so we don't know. But we kept McDavid off the score sheet for the most part. So there's James Neal, 4 points in 4 games. So as mentioned, we needed him to really step up right now in the playoffs. Like I said, he had a pretty weak finish to the regular season through 17 games with Calgary, only 10 points. But he is the only Flames player with exactly a point a game in the playoffs, 4 points in 4 games. Tkachuk, massive in that series. Got injured in game 2, but came back and scored the eventual series winner. That decided the series. 3 points for him, 3 points for Yager, who's just been massive for us. For Leak as well as Backlund. Brody was massive in this series. Massive. He scored an overtime winner and assisted on the Tkachuk series winner. And then Giordano, 2 points for Stieg. Monahan and Gaudreau, I'd like to have seen a little bit more of them, but they each finished 2 points in 4 games. Sam Bennett comes in and has 1 point in his first game back from injury, so he came back, as mentioned, a lot earlier than we expected, but huge for Sam Bennett. Jankowski with 1 point as well through that. So massive series there for the Calgary Flames. Neal has stepped up, but we all know who the real MVP in that series was, and it is Mike Smith. 9-4-5 through 4 games played. Just incredible. 1.99 goals against. Like, come on. That is just incredible. 4-0-0. Just, like, wow. What can you say out of Mike Smith? Just wow. So that's huge by the Calgary Flames for sure. So a big series win. It's a series sweep for the Calgary Flames. Like I said, a year removed from being swept by the Ducks. The Flames respond by sweeping the Oilers in round 1. So what I think we'll do here is we'll simulate to find out who our opponent is, if it's going to be Anaheim or Chicago, and then we'll end this episode here because it's gone on pretty long. And we definitely don't want it going on as long as episode 7, but we'll pick up round 2 in the next episode here in episode 9. But let's just sim up here so we can figure out who our opponent is. So, massive series sweep for Calgary. I know I've said it so many times that I just can't get over the fact that we just swept the Oilers in round 1. Like, wow, that's just, for a Flames fan, that's so sweet. But, I think we should look at this while we're at it. The Stockton Heat, who maybe finished first overall in the AHL, just lost their first round matchup, with the Bakersfield Condors. So I forget if we mentioned it in episode 7, but that's the Oilers affiliate. So basically it was a battle of Alberta in the AHL as well, and they win that one. But you know what? I'd rather take it in the NHL. They lose the series 3-1. It was a best of 5 series. The Stockton Heat lose that one 3-1. But just a bit of a shock because they had such a good season. And we're going to break down that team, like our prospects and where everybody finished, because we didn't even look at Stockton. But we'll break that down that team at the end of the playoffs. But just a quick look there. So a bit of a shock for us that our AHL team was so good this season, and they got beat by the Oilers affiliate there in round 1, but we won the NHL matchup. They can have the AHL matchup. I didn't care about the AHL. But we got the best of them in the National Hockey League in the Stanley Cup playoffs. So, excuse me. We are almost a week since we beat the Oilers, and we yet to have our opponent. So I wonder if this one went 7 between the Hawks and the Ducks. Obviously, the Ducks clawed back in that series, but it's going to be the Hawks. So, okay, we can worry about scouting here in a second. Stop simulation, but it is going to be Calgary-Chicago round 2. So for the first time since, I believe, 2009, the Hawks and the Flames will meet in the playoffs in 09. They met in round one. Obviously, a team that Calgary, like I thought Calgary had such a good team in 09. I think we had a Ginla, Tonge, Camilleri. I mean, you got to go back, remember, 2009. Rene Bourque, who was having almost like a 30-goal season that year. I think we had Bouwmeester, Phaneuf, Regier. We had a pretty stacked team, and then obviously Mika Kiprusoff. So we had a pretty good team in 09, but we got manhandled by the Hawks in round one, and they went on in that playoff series. I think they lost to... I forget who they lost to in 09, but that was the year before they won their first cup. But first time since 2009 that the two teams, so it's been 9 years since these two teams have met in the playoffs, but it is going to be Hawks and Flames. In the Central, it's going to be Dallas and Minnesota, so both Nashville and St. Louis goes home. And then in the East, Toronto and Tampa, and then the Rangers and the Panthers, so the Sabres, Bruins, and Penguins and Flyers all exit in the first round, so there will be no three-peat for the Penguins, but it's going to be Leafs, Lightning, Rangers, Panthers, which is a huge surprise by many that the Panthers are in round two, but Flames, Hawks, and Stars and Wild. So we will end this video here. We will pick up episode 9 with rounds 2, and we'll see if we can get rounds... I don't want to say round 3 because I don't want to jinx it, but we'll see if how much further we can get in episode 9. But nevertheless, the Calgary Flames have swept Edmonton and now face the Chicago Blackhawks in the 2017-18 Stanley Cup playoffs, round 2, Hawks Flames in the Western Conference semis, coming up in episode 9.